MK Ultra is taking over. It's being admitted that it's true. We got alien UFO information. We got surveillance information. We got a lot of information tonight.
In the name of Jesus, you with me? Let's go!
You're watching The Big Picture.
Listen, we ain't been live in the studio in about 3 weeks now.
Has it been that long?
I think it's 3 weeks. Yeah, because we've had a couple things come up on Monday nights, and we had to pre-record.
That's why I'm saying I'm glad to be back with my tribe.
We back in the saddle, baby.
I missed you guys.
Woo! Back in the saddle. Well, we're going to talk a lot about tonight MK Ultra. Did you ever think that we would be talking about MK Ultra on the show? Y'all, this is on the same level of aliens and Nephilim and all this. She started talking about MK Ultra way back.
Did.
Y'all, now I can't watch a movie now without thinking that's MK Ultra. And look, the ultimate one was the Manchurian Candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yes.
Was that not just MK? That was them telling us what they're doing.
Yeah, they never said that word, I don't think. And when I heard you say that the first time, I nearly fell out of my chair.
Hey, trivia! Don't say it. Don't say it. Trivia. I want to see the first one in the live chat. Who played the first guy in the Manchurian Candidate? Who was that guy back when it first came out? I'm gonna give you about 30 to 45 seconds in the live chat to tell me who, because some of y'all seen the Denzel Washington remake, but who was the original?
Let's see who's
going to win it. Who's going to win it?
Who will tell us first?
Yeah. MK Ultra. We're going to talk about heavy tonight, but we're going to wait and see if anybody can tell us who played the first one.
And someone chime in.
Yep. Somebody, come on. Does anybody know? Does anybody know? Anyone. 5, 4, 3. There it is. Shelby, Indiana Jones. Frank Sinatra.
In the 60s, that's right.
Frank Sinatra was in the original Manchurian Candidate, and then Denzel Washington redid it. It was actually a really good movie. Mm-hmm. Now we got to go. We go back and watch movies for research now. All right, let's get into this. Former CIA officer testifies to Congress MK Ultra used to mind control mass shooters and Hollywood celebrities. In the hearing that sent shockwaves through Capitol Hill, a former CIA officer delivered chilling testimony before Congress, declaring that the agency's infamous mind control program, MK Ultra, was never shut down, contrary to what they said. They've at least admitted it now, but they said they shut it down. But he's saying no. It's still used to mind control subjects, including entertainment industry stars and mass shooters. Got a video here of Anna Paulina Lewin. Boy, is she not involved in a lot of stuff right now.
She is.
And she, of course, is the chairperson of the conspiracy theorist favorite committee ever, because she's covering everything. But this is her opening statement.
This hearing is about the crimes committed by the Central Intelligence Agency against the American citizens and the decades of secrecy used to conceal them. The American people deserve a complete and truthful record. The victims and their families deserve acknowledgement, and this Congress has a constitutional obligation to ensure that full declassification is not delayed any longer. Project MKUltra was not a policy failure or an overzealous program that got out of hand. It was a deliberate, systematic governmental operation that subjected American citizens, prisoners, hospital patients, veterans, ordinary people to LSD, electroshock, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, psychological torture without their knowledge or consent. This went on for 20 years on American soil, funded by American taxpayer dollars and authorized by the very top of U.S. intelligence apparatus. And this program, when it did end, the men who ran it did not cooperate with investigators. They did not come forward. They committed another crime. They destroyed evidence.
Wow.
The documents this task force has reviewed are unambiguous. In January 1973, the director of the CIA, Richard Helms, prepared to leave office. He personally ordered the destruction of MKUltra records. The CIA official document in writing states, over my stated objectives, the MKUltra files were destroyed by the order of DCI Mr. Helms shortly before his departure from office. A separate internal account confirms that Helms telephoned Dr. Gottlieb directly and instructed him to destroy, quote, all files pertaining to drug research and associated activities. Gottlieb compiled 4 people, spent an entire day tearing, burning down 152 files. Then Gottlieb had his personal papers destroyed by his secretary before he retired. The head of the CIA-owned records center protested the destruction in writing, but he was overruled. That is obstruction of justice. That is criminal destruction of federal records, and neither individuals were ever charged with a crime for it. Helms received a $2,000 fine for lying to Congress about an unrelated matter and collected his government pension until he died. Gottlieb retired in rural Virginia and wrote poetry. No one went to prison. No victim was ever formally compensated by the government for the harm that they caused. By 1975, the Church Committee and the Rockefeller Commission had already established through sworn testimony and the surviving 1963 Inspector General report that MKUltra existed and that the CIA had run a program of human experimentation on unwitting Americans. The scope and detail of what we know today is largely because of an accident. In 1977, an archivist diligently complying with a FOIA request discovered 7 boxes of MKUltra financial records that had been misfiled and escaped the bonfire.
Wow.
Those 7 boxes included the names of institutions, the name of subprojects, the researchers who participated, the specific operation that the CIA had funded, and without them, the vast majority of MKUltra would only be a rumor, just as Helms and Gottlieb intended. Those 7 boxes revealed that MKUltra comprised at least 149 subprojects, operated across more than 80 institutions, and involved 185 non-government researchers. They revealed that the CIA covertly contributed $375,000 to a hospital research wing, which was approved directly by DCI Alan Dulles, which Richard Helms concurrence, so the agency could use unwitting patients as experimental subjects in what their own documents called a hospital safe house.
Wow.
The CIA-owned Inspector General said in 1963 his classified report concluded.
Let's keep in mind, as we're hearing her just go down this litany of things, these are things that were paid for by tax dollars. These are things that were done by our government, not by Russia or China, by the United States government, the CIA.
The Alan Dulles.
Yeah.
That Dulles International Airport is named after him and his brother. They were some pretty brutal guys.
Absolutely.
Concluded that the program had exceeded the agency's legal chapter, and covert testing on unwitting subjects placed the rights and interests of U.S. citizens in jeopardy. The program ran for a decade that we know of, and they ignored their own watchdog. Let me be clear what I believe that we are dealing with here. Administering drugs to people without their knowledge or consent, subjecting humans to psychological torture, and using prisoners and hospital patients as non-consenting research subjects. These are crimes against humanity. The Central Intelligence Agency committed them, and then the director of the CIA was ordering the destruction of evidence. Today, we will hear from 2 witnesses who have spent years unraveling the cover-up that our government ordered.
We're going to play some testimony from them.
This is terrible. But what about the GATE program that operates out of the public school system that takes our children and does
gifted and talented
education and does probably similar things to our children?
Well, and there's probably people that are in this live chat and that people that we know have had people in their family affected by the GATE program.
Probably. I mean, it's not like it's ceased.
Yeah,
I think it still continues. And, you know, a lot of parents are made to believe that this is, you know, an exceptional, gifted program for their children who go through all of this. And quite frankly, you know, when a lot of these individuals get into their 30s, all of that programming begins to break down and they have horrific side effects from it if it doesn't happen to them before then. And I hate that my country has ever been involved in anything like this. It's terrible.
Yeah, and I want to remind everybody, you know, yes, it's our country, but it's not everybody in our country. It's like, you know, what happens is people will throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's some very evil people that's been involved in every single country. There's evil people that are involved in churches, but you shouldn't forget about church. There's people that are evil people that are involved in every nation, every institution.
Right.
But that doesn't mean America itself is evil.
No.
There are evil people that are in power in places of America, but America is still a great country.
In America, there are good people that work in all of these different governmental departments.
Yeah.
Very good and committed and, high moral standard individuals in the CIA, in the FBI, and so on and so forth. But clearly, I don't see how anyone can get around the fact that the CIA has their tentacles into so many dark areas.
No doubt about it. Dark. It goes on to say in this article, I'm going to play a video about one of the testimony in just a second. It says, secret German torture site remains possibly still hidden. In another bombshell moment, Luna reveals that she is investigating allegations of a secret CIA black site in Germany where MK Ultra victims were reportedly tortured. A witness claimed to have identified the possible location, prompting Luna to vow contact with the German government and potential law enforcement involvement to locate and identify any remains. The program, Luna said, operated unvetted, unchecked, and with no accountability. And I'm going to play the video from one of the people that testified that has deep knowledge of this. But let's go back to the evil things the Germans were doing and the testing that they were doing, and then all of a sudden, many of those that had mastered this ability to, who knows what, hybridization, transhumanism, portals, time travel, reverse gravidity, anti-gravity, all this kind of stuff. And then they just got a pass in Operation Paperclip, and our government said, hey, come over here and help us and bring all your knowledge with you.
I mean, we're talking about twinning the art of understanding how to, produce.
We got Gabe Perot in there. Come on.
Gabe.
What's up, Gabe?
Produce twins, and then supposedly, if you believe this, cloning.
We're live, Gabe. We're live. This is not pre-recorded. We are live. You are live and in person yourself.
Yes.
But you're right.
So many things.
So many things. So let's listen to this guy here. This is investigative journalist Tom O'Neill on CIA's MK Ultra mind control program. This guy right here, he has some very fascinating things to say. So let's play this.
50 years ago, the last congressional hearings into MK Ultra took place just a short walk from here in the Dirksen Senate office building. At those hearings, convened in August and September of 1977, representatives of the CIA told Congress and the American people that its 25-year effort to control human behavior had been a colossal failure. Because I believe Congress was never told the truth about what this program actually achieved. In fact, I believe the agency misled Congress in 1977 when it characterized MK Ultra as a failure. My name is Tom O'Neill, and in 1999, I accepted a magazine assignment to write a story about murders committed by a group of hippies called the Manson family.
Wow.
Yep.
For those unfamiliar with this horrific episode of American history, in the summer of 1969, 4 young people acting on the orders of a cult leader named Charles Manson went to the home of movie director Roman Polanski and murdered everyone they found there, including his 8.5-month pregnant wife, the actress Sharon Tate. The victims were complete strangers to their killers. The following night, Manson's followers murdered another couple in the same grisly fashion. At the time I accepted the assignment, I'd never heard of MK Ultra, and I wouldn't for another 2 years after I'd missed countless deadlines, lost the assignment, and fallen down a nightmarish rabbit hole trying to answer the question I couldn't quite shake. How had Manson, a barely literate ex-con, acquired the ability to persuade ordinary young people to murder complete strangers simply because he had told them to? The pursuit of the answer to that question led me to Dr. Louis Jolyon West, known to his friends as Jolly. West was one of the most influential psychiatrists in America. During his career, he crossed paths with some of the most controversial events of the 20th century, including the Patty Hearst kidnapping case and the aftermath of the John F. Kennedy assassination investigation. In 1977, West was one of 7 academic researchers named in a front-page New York Times story alleging that the CIA had used American universities, hospitals and prisons as secret laboratories for experiments involving LSD and other drugs on unwitting human subjects. West vigorously denied the allegations. He acknowledged that the agency had approached him, but insisted he had refused because he said LSD was too dangerous and unpredictable to be used on humans. He added that he limited all of his research with LSD to animals. The revelations in the Times led directly to the congressional hearings held later that year. West's denials, however, were effective. He was never investigated, and his name never came up at the hearings. I'll spare you the long and tedious story of how my Manson reporting led me to West, except to say that I eventually learned that in 1967, when Manson transformed into the cult leader we are familiar with today, he and his followers were receiving free medical care at a clinic in San Francisco, where West had established a base of operations for a research project he was conducting nearby. After becoming intrigued by the allegations against West, I learned that UCLA, his last academic home, had inherited his paper following his death in 1999.
What's your thoughts so far?
Concerning the hearings, I think they should probably haul Mr. Hal Puthoff in there. Not that you would get anything out of him, but he is probably the real life Papa from Stranger Things. The
And he's now.
I saw somebody in there say Montauk.
Yeah, Montauk.
Stranger Things
Montauk
was supposed to be about Montauk, and I believe Hal Puthoff was probably Papa in real life. But concerning the Manson,
wasn't he the guy that was on Diary of a CEO talking about the 4 different types of that went viral? There's a video of him Puthoff was talking about the 4 different types of aliens.
I don't remember if he was on there. He's definitely been on Rogan.
He was on
Big Show on Rogan. He's been on others recently, but listen, this man has had his hands in a lot of things, okay?
Yeah.
But Manson...
But there won't be any consequences.
Oh, goodness no. And God help us what he's going to take to the grave with him.
Yeah.
But Manson, if we had time to really get into this, he actually, I think, was seeking a music career. I think you can tie him to the whole Music from the Canyon group or club and another program called Tavistock. They never allowed his music career to get any traction, but I'm wondering if they plucked him from Tavistock program to put him into MK Ultra, or just, he got a new assignment to be who he became.
Very interesting this Tom O'Neill's talking about that he has proof that Manson and all his followers were going to this clinic that was being ran as a facility by this guy that was controlling and was being used in MK Ultra. So and then this hearing goes on to say, I don't know if I have video of it or not, him and this other guy testifies that they say 100% JFK, RFK, all of them were assassinated by MK Ultra controlled. And they openly say, and even Tim Burchett, he was like, I agree. He's basically, he can say, I agree. But he was just like, this don't make sense. What was the guy's name that killed Dr. King? I can't think of his name right now.
I used to know his name.
But I knew it, but I just slipped my mind.
Right.
But he openly says that he believes that he was MK Ultra'd as well. And so basically what they're trying to say is that every major conspiracy of assassination and horrible unexplained murder during those times were carried out by MK Ultra.
Okay.
That's what they're trying to say.
Was it Sirhan that assassinated RFK? And when questioned, he couldn't coherently answer how he got into this position, why he did all of this.
Yeah.
And some people believe that he, falls under that umbrella that you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, let's continue in our deep dive here on MK Ultra. But why we're doing this? Because this is ongoing hearings that are happening right now. Right now. And the same hearing that are doing the UFO disclosure is doing this. So here we're back, Anna Paulina Luna, and this is when she starts talking about Germany. This is very interesting. the Nazis with Dr. Kinzer.
Operation Paperclip brought over 1,600 German scientists into the United States government after World War II, including individuals who had conducted human experimentation in concentration camps. The CIA and military were aware of their backgrounds and recruited them anyways. In your research, did you find direct documentation between Paperclip scientists and the development of MKUltra's experimental protocols, specifically the use of mescaline, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation, which were techniques also documented at Dachau?
Absolutely. Kurt Blome, who was the chief of biological weapons development for the Nazi government, came to work for the CIA. So did Walter Schreiber, who was the Surgeon General of the Nazi Army. I can just tell a brief story. When I was researching my book, I found what I think might be the first secret CIA prison or black site. It's a nice chalet in Germany. And the guy who now owns it took me into the basement. He said these were the cells where the MKUltra officers, working side by side with Nazis, carried out those gruesome experiments, which were actually just continuations of the experiments that those Nazis had been conducting just a few years earlier right down the road.
Just for timeline and clarification, these experiments were happening after the Nuremberg trials, correct? So the CIA would have known that these were crimes against humanity.
I looked for an episode in which the Nuremberg doctrines were posted on the wall in some MKUltra or CIA office, and I was never able to find any indication that those Nuremberg principles ever were even consulted, much less obeyed.
Thank you.
Wow. So yeah, we knew that Paperclip was more than just rockets.
Exactly.
We knew
Think
that.
of the pharmaceutical application. Think of what we're talking about right now, the MKUltra application. It wasn't just Wernher von Braun and rockets.
No,
not at all.
No. The hearing continued. MKUltra hearing reveals CIA whistleblower was secretly dosed with LSD during a meeting. 9 days later, he fell from a hotel window in New York, ruled a suicide. The whistleblower was investigating biological weapons for the CIA and reportedly planned to expose unethical MKUltra. Let's listen to this.
What are some of the worst abuses in MKUltra?
There were many. The Frank Olson case, which was referenced earlier, that was a murder. I don't believe that was a suicide. And the motivation was because he was going to be a whistleblower. He worked at the CIA. He worked in the development of biological weapons, and he was planning to go public and announced that the United States government was using biological weapons in the Korean War. And also he was going to share what he knew about MKUltra experiments, including lethal experiments. And there's a documented case.
How many, gentlemen, how many people do you think died through the MKUltra program or were murdered?
No idea.
If those who died largely were outside the United States, many people were experimented to death in that safe house in Germany that I visited, and people in the neighborhood told me they knew what was going on in that house, and that people who were experimented to death are now buried in what used to be forest plots that are now covered over with
Do you think the
apartments.
German government knew what the U.S. government was doing? Do you think there was a partnership there or knowledge?
Yes. There is a memo that was written by the German Secret Service to Konrad Adenauer, the Chancellor of Germany, telling him Americans are here capturing citizens, capturing people and conducting extreme experiments which are in violation of German law. And Adenauer decided to put that aside and not to investigate
I have one more
further.
question because I have 15 seconds. Is this a massive cover-up by the U.S. government?
It's certainly a cover-up of what happened in the past.
Mr. O'Neill?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
People being thrown out of windows is not something new to U.S. government. Actually,
Yeah. Your
Man, that's
government.
hard. It's hard to process.
It is. These things were probably a lot easier to keep under wraps decades ago. But, and still, there are so much that is kept secret and kept under wraps. And probably, some of these things are done underground in underground facilities away from peering eyes. But even in this age of information, I think we are only scratching the surface.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt. And then this, of course, one day I'd like to meet this dude right here,
AJ.
AJ.
Gentile.
I love the Y-Files. Obviously I don't agree with everything he believes, but I don't hardly anybody. But I do love the Y-Files. He seems like a good guy.
He seems.
Be careful.
I really like him a lot.
Yeah.
But in the 2 or 3 years that I've been watching him, he seems like he's been reaching and searching, and he seems like he's getting further away from me in that process.
Me too. Yeah.
And I hate that.
You
but
know
I
what's
like
sad?
that he brings information to us.
It's because we ain't got enough people that are biblically based, that are awake to this, that are going on shows like this to speak into these kind of guys' lives. And the only ones that are speaking into them are the Masonic people, the people that are involved in all this. But this is the opening of one of his shows on MK Ultra, and somebody's just showing it.
But there's an entire episode on this guy, his story, and what happened.
Frank
and
Olson.
The episode is called CIA Murder That Exposed MK Ultra. I'll play you just the intro.
November 28th, 1953, New York City. At 2:30 a.m., the body hit the sidewalk. A few seconds later, a shower of glass. The doorman of the Statler Hotel yelled to the lobby that there was a jumper. The night manager rushed out and saw him. A man about 40 years old lying on the pavement. He was on his back wearing only his underwear, and blood started to pool around him. 13 stories up, a single window is open, its curtain flapping through broken glass. The night manager knelt beside the man, whose eyes were open and was somehow still alive. He desperately tried to speak, but was choking on blood and couldn't be understood. After a minute or two of trying to communicate, the man took a final deep breath and was gone. Nobody knows for sure what he was trying to say before he died. But one thing is for certain, it was something about the CIA.
Now,
Something about the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Shall I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay, so MK Ultra hearings revealed the CIA whistleblower was secretly dosed with LSD during a meeting. Of course, we just read that. Let's see. I think this is the same video that we just showed. Let me go back. Thought I had another video. Lost my other video. But what we want to try to point out to you right now is that let's just watch a little bit more of this guy here, Tom O'Neill. Let's watch the last part of his testimony, and then I'll come back and make my comment.
The means of gaining the ability to seize the control of a person's perceptions, memories, and ultimately their behavior. But there was still one more discovery, and this time I found it in the National Security Archives at George Washington University, the official repository of the CIA's MK Ultra records, which were released to Congress after the 1977 hearings. In those holdings was a different versions of West's 1956 report. The original paper had been replaced by a 4-page summary that did not exist in West's files and appears to have been written by someone else. His claims about replacing memories were gone. In their place was a theoretical discussion of LSD in dissociative states. The version supplied to Congress concluded that the effects of LSD and similar drugs on dissociative states had, and I'm quoting, never been studied. Never been studied. In the original report, West discusses observations from his own experiments, including detailed descriptions of using LSD to, as he wrote, speed the induction of the hypnotic state and deepen the trance in subjects. Those passages have been removed in the report turned over to Congress. The discrepancy could not have been more stark. Nearly 50 years ago, another congressional committee believed it had been given the truth about MK Ultra. It had not. In conclusion, I respectfully submit that these records, some newly available and others that remained outside the government's disclosure for decades, warrant a thorough re-examination of what the program accomplished, what Congress was told, and what may still remain hidden. I'm happy to provide the documents I've referenced today, and I've provided many additional details in my written testimony.
So, wow, this is going on right now. And I want you to share your thoughts. And while you're doing that, I want to look for a video that I thought I had.
So
and bring it back in.
what day did this start? Was it all last week?
I think it was all last week. Yeah.
Most of last week and into this week. I'm going to try to catch some of that this week. And, it at least in appearance seems like we're, trying to move this ball further down the field and uncover some of these things. I know the realities are so much worse than anything that they're going to talk about, even though what they have been saying, at least in these clips, is very serious. But I am surprised that they went this route. Okay, the UFO and alien stuff, that was surprising at first, but that kind of made sense in this moment. But then to go down this path, I did not see that.
Oh, the canisters were way more expensive than we could.
Did you find it?
Actually afford.
I didn't mean to play that. Keep going what you're saying.
So I don't know how you feel about that. And I don't know how you guys out there. Did anybody see us jumping from alien UFO into MK Ultra hearings?
And the question automatically comes up is which one's a distraction of the other? Or is both of them a distraction of Epstein?
Right.
It's just like, it's like
somehow,
squirrel.
Epstein, who somehow you can tie to all of the above, right?
Exactly.
And even more.
And the thing is, it's intentional, use the word psyop. It's intentional to just overload us with things that were all of these were conspiracies. Not long ago.
Exactly.
All of these, no one believed.
But now we're going to spill the tea on everything now?
On everything. So why? Why are they, what are they really hiding? What are they really hiding? Now, I'm not sure if this is the video I was talking about or not, but this was on Joe Rogan. It was actually 7 months ago. And it's called The Disturbing Truth Behind CIA's Mind Control Experiments. And I'm going to play just a little bit of this.
Do we know his name? Because I definitely did not watch that episode. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who it is. For whatever reason, he never puts his guest name on there.
Most people associate MK Ultra with LSD, but one of the most expansive of the sub-projects is Subproject 68. It was by this guy named Ewan Cameron. Have you heard that name before?
No.
Cameron? Okay, Ewan Cameron. He is a psychiatrist up in Montreal in Canada, working at what's called the Allen Memorial Institute. And Gottlieb wanted to expand MK Ultra besides drugs because he already had a lot of people doing drug experiments. So he wanted to see if there were psychological techniques that could be used to manipulate a person. So not just in an interrogation, but can we actually control a person's personality? Can we make them behave in certain ways, make them do?
When you hear this guy describe what he's about to describe, I want you to think about all the movies that you've seen where they bring you in a room, they sit you in a chair, and they put those either a headset on or put you in front of a screen and start showing all these images.
Yes.
Listen to what this guy says.
So the idea that Ewan Cameron had come up with before the CIA is involved, I should mention Ewan Cameron is a behaviorist. So he thinks that all behavior is a result of nurture, not nature. So it's the environmental input that causes a person to behave a certain way. And he thought that if you could bring a person back down to a blank slate, remove all the environmental inputs that have been put into them, and then you can build them back up in your image into whatever you want them to be. So his idea to bring someone down to...
Notice the wording, build them back up into the image that you want them to be.
Yeah.
That's what the whole thing's about, the image war. It's always, that's what we talk about all the time, is it's always about the image. You being able to take over the God role to redefine someone's image.
To the blank slate was to induce enough stress that they forgot who they formerly were. And so you reduce them to the blank slate, and then the CIA is really interested in, if you could do that, then you could form them into whatever. So Ewan Cameron, his main goal is to try to figure out what can induce enough stress in a person to bring them down to that blank slate. And so he performs a lot of experiments. His most famous one is called psychic driving, where he was doing a therapy session, quote unquote therapy, with one of his patients, and he was recording the session, and she said something about how, my mother when I was young used to tell me blah blah blah. She said something negative to her, and so Ewan Cameron rewinded that on the tape that he was recording and made her listen back to it and said, "Hey, I want you to listen back to what you say your mother used to say to you." When he rewinded the tape and played it forward, as soon as the woman was kind of quoting her mother and she listened to that herself on the tape, she recoiled. And Cameron thought, oh, you have a negative reaction to that. So he rewinded again and again and again. And he kept rewinding it. And she just got more and more emotional, had this more and more kind of visceral reaction to what she was saying her mother used to tell her. So this led Cameron to develop the concept of psychic driving, which is you record some kind of negative message and then you make someone listen to it for thousands and thousands and thousands of times for weeks on end, for hours every day. All their waking day, they basically are strapped into a headphone that is playing this negative message, and it will break them down over time. That's how you induce enough stress to break them down to the blank slate. And then you can record a positive psychic driving message to build them up into whatever image you want them to be. So that was...
Goodness. This is
wow,
not the same as ritual type abuse, but goodness, I don't want to say too much, but
yeah,
when you want to split the personality, you use extreme trauma on people. And they basically, their personality can be split, and you can train different personalities to do different things. Like if you need one to be an assassin, you need one to...
Or to run for office, to be a political puppet.
Yes.
I mean, there's just all kinds of things. Ladies and gentlemen.
Control.
Listen to me. Listen to Pastor Larry right now. The only way. The battle is always in the mind.
Yes.
It's always in the mind. Be not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
The deception that Jesus talked about was going to come in the last days. You can't fathom it. I can't fathom it. I'm not even saying that I can fathom it. And I'm teaching it. None of us can fathom it. It was so important that he led with it. He led with it before he talked about earthquakes and wars and pestilence and even the days of Noah. He said, listen, there is going to be a level of deception that you can't comprehend. See that you are not deceived. And the only weapon against this mind control, and that's what it is, mind control, is to have your mind renewed with the word of God. You've got to make sure, and you've got to be careful, the eyes, the windows, and the doors of the soul. You've got to be careful who you're listening to and what you're watching, because I believe they're doing a lot of this through YouTube. I believe they're doing a lot of this through X.
What do you think about these things like Taylor Swift concerts, the FIFA?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's all an algorithm.
When you get
the world
all of
is an
these
algorithm.
people in one place, and what is the phrase they use? Mass. Basically, it's like mass mind control. Remember when people were saying they went to the Taylor Swift concert, but they can't remember anything that happened.
That's right. Oh,
and
yeah.
she's up
A
on the
lot of people
stage
said that.
looking like a witch at times, different parts of the show, possibly sounding like she's casting spells. I mean,
and she ain't just sounding like it. And it just hurts a lot of them.
And then go back to Travis Scott that had the concert where the people, several people
Lost
actually died at that concert. And they reported, some people said they thought some kind of frequencies were used. Some people thought that manipulation of some sort was used and that things just went crazy and sideways. So, yeah, we know that demonstrations, different types of weapons have been used on people. Probably also mind control has been used on people. Look at all these giant sporting events, giant concerts,
they're all
large
ritualistic
gatherings.
things. We know that. The most viewed thing in the world is the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And what happens every year at halftime?
Dear God, have mercy.
Every year.
We are, I do believe a ritual is performed also in the music award shows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All of these things.
Now, listen, here's the thing what you got to get, though. And this is a little scary. People probably getting a little scared right now. Look, God's not giving you a spirit of fear, power, love, and a sound mind. Yep. But you also need to be awake to what is actually really happening.
Yes.
The bottom line is this. We are hearing things about, and let this sink deep within you, okay, what I'm about to say. We are hearing about secret, clandestine places that were places of torture, places all around the world that were houses and hospitals and universities and all this. That was the seedbed. Now, listen, the whole world is a laboratory. The algorithm is global. It is now what you used to have to sit somebody in a room like what he's talking about and put images in front of their face over and over and over again. You can now do it through this. This is the new room that they used to put you in. I want you to hear what I'm saying. This is what I teach about in the book. This is what I teach about in my church. I don't just teach on this channel. Y'all, I teach my people in my church, and people don't know what to think about it when I talk on these kind of subjects. I'm trying to tell people I'm not perfect. I fall for things too, but this is the new CIA psyop,
so
and
that
we all
you
use
can
it.
guard your own self, guard your children, guard your spouse, guard your friends. They are completely clueless to these things that we're talking about.
Yes.
They have no concept of what we're saying, but yet they have so many after effects of being subjected and using these technologies and the movies and the concerts and the games. And you can help them.
Listen, there are marriages that are crumbling because of the algorithm.
There
are families that are falling apart because of the algorithm. There are people that have committed crimes. There are mass shootings that have happened because of mind control through social media, just being inundated. That interest media. I just did a show earlier today. Go back and watch it if you missed it. It's about what I'm talking about. It's on a lighter level, but it's about the programming that is happening. And when you are inundated with this, and the algorithm finds one thing that you're interested in. It used to be called social media. Now it's called interest media. And one of the things I shared on that show, and you can go back and watch it, is called the dwell algorithm now. And what the dwell algorithm is now, that a lot of people are not talking about, that is absolutely factual. It is now you don't even have to touch an ad or an article for the algorithm to know that you're interested. Your phone is now watching your eyes.
Yeah.
And when you are scrolling, if you slow down and look at an ad, look at an image, read an article, and never touch the phone, but you pause and dwell there, is why it's called that, for like 1.5 seconds or something like that, the algorithm says they want this. They're interested in this. So then you scroll, and all of a sudden you got another ad selling the same kind of thing, and you never touched, never searched, never did anything. That it's so intense now that it's watching your facial reaction. It's seeing if you turn your mouth a certain way. Did you put your lips together? Did your eyes water? Did you get angry? And it's reading you and feeding you. And I'm telling you, y'all, you got to have God in your life. Jesus, not just a concept of God. You got to have Jesus in your life, because that is what is coming.
We have become a foregone conclusion, okay? You are down to a pattern recognition.
Absolutely.
It's down to a formula, and it is proven. So all these things that we were hearing about 2 years ago, 1 year ago, these predictive models, they're going to become so precise. They are.
Yeah.
They really are.
They really are. Oh, yeah. They're not coming. They're here.
Yeah, they are here.
They are here, y'all. There's just no doubt about it. They are here. Can we watch a little bit more of this video? Are you up to it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's watch just a little bit more of this guy here, continuing to describe. And what he's about to say, and I want you to wait for it, is Joe Rogan is shocked when he learns, okay, wait a minute. This was accidentally discovered, how to do this. And when I heard this, because of where my mind is, because of my book, by the way, if you hadn't got it, get it, The Final Flood. By the way, here's how you can do it. thefinalflood.com, or scan the QR code there and get you a copy of it. But I thought about, what you're about to hear, this is what I thought. There's no accidents. There are entities and there are things in the spirit realm that are trying to download technology and information that we were not supposed to have. And so that's what I thought was at play here. So let's finish this.
Was his initial idea.
Was it based on anything?
Not really. It was just based on he had this one encounter with this woman and she had a negative reaction. And he's just trying to induce stress. This obviously seemed to induce stress in her. Therefore, we're going to start playing these negative tapes to them.
So it was just his idea?
It's just his idea. He was known for doing this kind of thing, like kind of spur of the moment. In fact, there was one kid, basically, who had been at this Allen Memorial Institute where Ewan Cameron was. He eventually had gotten out, but he had tried to commit suicide, and so he was sent back to the Allen Memorial Institute. But the way that he had tried to commit suicide was to close the garage and have the CO2 build up with a running car, and then he would, breathe it in and pass out and die. That ended up not working. However, when he went back to the Allen Memorial Institute, Ewan Cameron thought, his personality seems like a little bit better than it was when he was here before. Maybe CO2 can influence someone, and so he sent out some of his assistants to go buy CO2 canisters, and we're going to start giving this to people. But it turns out the assistants knew that this was completely unethical. There's no medical basis for anything. And so they lied to him and said, the canisters were way more expensive than we could actually afford, so we can't do that. But so he was trying to find any way that he could have a breakthrough to cure mental illness, and he was using his patients as guinea pigs.
Complete
basically.
guinea pigs.
Complete guinea pigs.
What was the result with the woman? The woman where they played the negative recordings?
There are dozens and dozens of people who that happened to. I don't know about her in particular because I don't know if she's actually named in the documents. So I don't know.
Did any of these experiments have a positive effect? Did it work?
Hardly. So that was only.
I shouldn't even say positive. I should say were they effective?
No. For the most part, the people who he did his practice on came out way worse than when they went in. So psychic driving, that's initially what got the CIA interested in Cameron. So it's important to keep in mind, it's not that the CIA told Cameron to do this. He's doing this on his own because he thinks he's going to cure mental illness by having this radical breakthrough where we break them down and build them back up, and we can build them back up and make them forget their schizophrenia or depression or whatever they have. The CIA reads his article about psychic driving, and they think this is the kind of thing we're interested in. So from that point on, they start funding him not only to do psychic driving experiments, but also he does puts people in chemical comas for months on end. And while they're in these chemical comas, he would put an audio device next to their pillow playing these psychic driving messages. And he would put them in sensory deprivation chambers for weeks. They would have goggles over their eyes, earmuffs on their ears. They would have cardboard tubes over their arms so that they couldn't feel anything. And they would just be in a room for weeks on end. The idea, again, being to induce enough stress so that it breaks them down so that you can eventually build them up. But one of the saddest stories in the book, really, is of this woman named Mary Morrow, who was one of the patients of Ewan Cameron in Montreal. The sad thing about her especially is she had been a resident in training at the Allen Memorial Institute under Ewan Cameron. So she had been training to be a doctor under him, and she had administered some of these techniques, including electric shock. So that's one of the things, too. We would put these electrodes on the heads of people, and he would continually shock them until, again, the idea was to reduce them to in one case, he says, an infantile-like state where they lose control of their bladder, they can't eat, they can't talk, they can't go to the bathroom on their own, they can't put on their own clothes or anything like that. So she was in charge of administering some of these, therapy sessions or whatever they would call it, but just basically torture to these people. She ended up having almost kind of a psychotic break herself. She became anorexic, and she failed her neurology exams, and so she went into a really deep depression. She attempted to commit suicide. That didn't work. She was admitted to the hospital and to another hospital. Ewan Cameron came to visit her, and he said, "I think you should come back to the Allen Memorial, not as a doctor, but as a patient, and let me treat you." So she ends up going back to the Allen Memorial as a patient, and she thought to herself that it's going to be okay. They're not going to do the electric shock to me because you had to sign a consent form and, for that to happen to you. The people who are signing the consent forms, they don't know how bad it's actually going to be. They're just signing their name. But she knows, I haven't signed a consent form, so they can't do that to me. But it turns out in the time since she went to the hospital and came back, they had stopped doing the consent forms, and he would just do this on whoever. And
this is chilling.
Monsters.
These are monsters.
Monsters.
This is demonic.
You don't have a conscience.
No.
If you can do this to other humans.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Woo. Well, we got to transition, cover a few other things. Man, we're gonna pray a cleansing prayer tonight.
Yes, we are.
And we're gonna get them devils out of this house. If there's any devil tries to come in here. Y'all, look, we're not fear mongers. We are watchmen. I don't care if you think we're just playing with you when we say that. We have a mandate here to call this stuff out. And look, it's hard to handle this if you ain't got God. It's hard to handle this.
This is so hopeless.
That's what it feels like.
And dark.
Without God.
Yeah.
Without God, it is.
But I will say this before we move on. Even these people who are experimented on and had to endure these things, there's even hope and healing for them because God is great enough to touch and help these people. It's just hard listening to this that people have the capacity to do this to others.
Unbelievable.
There's forgiveness for those who perpetrated these experiments, these therapies, whatever they wanted to call them. And there's help and healing for those who had to endure them. That's how great our God is.
Yeah. Come on, babe. Say it. All right. So let's transition to, let's not forget, as I said earlier, if you come in late, Wednesday night is my typical Bible study that I do. That's being moved to Thursday night for this meeting, for this week, because Wednesday night is the 79th anniversary of Roswell.
Yes, it is.
And L.A. Marzulli is going to be on the program with us. He has been to Roswell. He's actually discovered debris from what is supposedly one of the crafts that crashed. He's going to give us the whole story, and then he's going to tell us why it's important for us to know that. And there's been rumors, and who knows what will happen by the time we get to Wednesday. There's been rumors for months now that there's going to be a major announcement happen on the anniversary.
We even talked about it ourselves.
We've talked about it
several weeks ago.
So we'll see if that happens. Either way, Wednesday night, we got to remember, we're being inundated. This is why I call the book The Final Flood. We are being flooded with information. So much information. One day we're talking about aliens. Next day we're talking about MK Ultra. Next day we're talking about the war.
And a comparison, think of years and decades past where there was so much denial and it was like a wall. It's like hitting a wall to try to find out anything about anything. And now, as you said, it's a flood of information. It's like the fire hose. Instead of trying to get a little drink from the fountain, now it's just the fire hose.
Let's think about what you just said. This just hit me. Everything we just watched about how they did the images, that's what's being done to us right now.
It really is.
That's really what's being done to us.
It really is.
So much so that we don't even think if an alien showed up, it's just, it's going to be a big deal.
Is it going to be like Tuesday?
Yeah. It's like, okay, well,
aliens are here.
What's next?
Tuesday.
Next. Is it AI? Is it real? Is it AI? Even in Disclosure. Remember that one little line in Disclosure Day movie when they started showing all the Disclosure videos, the first guy said, is this real or is this AI? Should we be worried about this? This can't be real. Yep. So it was basically them saying that that's what the world's going to do. They're going to be like, yeah, okay, maybe it's real. But we're being so desensitized.
That's the word right there. That's it.
That's it.
Desensitized.
We are so desensitized to violence, to cruelty, to the aliens, to MK Ultra. That's what this is all about too. These hearings and all that is to, okay, yeah, this is shocking. But y'all, we're going to get it all out there. We're going to deny it. Nobody's going to be punished. And we're going to say that we didn't hide it anymore, but nothing's going to happen. And let's move on to the next thing.
Wow.
So look, let's move on. Let's remember that we still have disclosure that's happening here. That's still not happened, but it's in the process. So missing Los Alamos scientist was working on a top secret teleportation project before disappearance. A retired Los Alamos National Laboratory employee who vanished without a trace last year was reportedly working on a high-level quantum research that explored the possibility of being in two places at once. Let's watch this from News Nation.
So a man who used to work at Los Alamos National Laboratory, where the atomic bomb was first developed, has gone missing. And what makes that even more concerning is that Los Alamos appears to be the same lab where another missing person, 53-year-old administrative assistant Melissa Casillas, also worked. Now, Casillas went missing in June of 2025, and almost a year later, her body was found in a New Mexico forest next to a handgun, though authorities still don't have a cause of death. They haven't released it. And now there's been a big update in this case, which we're going to get to in a minute. But about 1 month before Casillas vanished, 78-year-old Anthony Chavez, who was a retired HVAC technician at the Los Alamos lab, was also reported missing. And when police went to investigate, they found no signs of Chavez. They found no signs of foul play. And what's more, according to Los Angeles Magazine, hidden deep within the police report about his disappearance is a claim from one of Chavez's friends that the missing tech was working on quantum physics with an unnamed scientist from Los Alamos. Now, Chavez's case made headlines in part because of the possible connection to Casillas, and now there's new information about her case thanks to a law firm that was hired by her family to investigate. In fact, according to local affiliate KOB4, the family's attorney says that several additional items of potential evidence were found at the site where her body was discovered. Is it going to help to solve the mystery of her disappearance? And if that mystery is solved, could it shed some light on what happened to Chavez? Well, joining me now to help answer those questions is Los Angeles Magazine's Lauren Conlin, who's been on this story from the very start. Always good to see you. What'd they find at the site? And I guess the other question is, how was it not discovered before?
That is the question. And I spoke to a family member of Melissa Casillas, and they let me know that they had hired a private search and rescue team to survey the area where Melissa was found after police said they had opened the scene back up, that, you know, it was no longer a crime scene. They wanted to do their diligence. And what they found was pretty crazy, Jesse. I mean, they found bones, and they had canines there, cadaver canines that were barking at these bones as if they were human. Now, we obviously don't know that yet. There was an orange peel. There were several torn up pieces of paper, and it's believed by some of Melissa's family members that Melissa's handwriting is on.
We don't know what those papers are.
We don't know. We don't know.
So I don't know how much deeper they go into that, but the interesting thing is this guy supposedly had HVAC. That's what his official title.
Right.
And now it's being reported that he was working on quantum physics, on how to work on a portal to be at two places at one time. And now he's missing.
Stream Redline is saying, like I said, they are being executed because of propulsion tech.
Yeah, I agree with that. And let's remember that while all this is happening, all this deluge of what we're talking about tonight, lo and behold, last week, CERN turns off and is going to be off for 4 years and be turned back on in June of 2030. And during that time, they're going to upgrade it to where it's no longer going to be called the LHC. Is that what it is? Large Hadron Collider. It's going to be, what is it? High luminosity, HL. It's going to be out in front of it when it comes back on. High luminosity to get 10 times more of the data. And let's not forget, too, that I did a show on it. Go back and watch it. The CERN scientists say there's going to be so much information. Of course, we all know what CERN really is, opening portals, that humans, they openly say this, will not be able to get the data because you can't slow it down to process. You have to get it in real time. So they're turning on the data collection when it comes back on to AI to discover what and grab and calculate what they think is worth.
Decipher in real time.
In real time. Y'all, we are coming to a convergence. We are coming to an end of something. Yeah. It's winding down, y'all. And you better be on the right side.
Exactly.
You better be on the right side. Speaking on the right side, NASA.
Never a straight answer.
Never a straight answer. But is now being accused of erasing UFOs from photographs before public release. I mean, can you imagine? Can you believe this?
Is this a right now thing or through
the past,
years and decades?
In the 70s.
So I wonder if they're going to mention Richard Hoagland in this.
Let's see if this one's got the video. Let's watch here, right?
There was no technology. We were creating it as we went along. That particular day, I walked into the photo lab in the restricted area, and this was between missions. One of the gentlemen I had been friends with, and I still talk to occasionally, he pointed my attention to one area of this mosaic. It was one panel of a mosaic, which are several panels put together to form a larger picture. And these were I believe they were satellite pictures. I'm not sure. They were aerial, looking down. And I said, this is really interesting. He explained everything. And then he, with a smile on his face, he said, look over there. And I looked, and in one of the photo panels, I saw a round white dot. And at the time, it was very crisp, very sharp lines on it. And I said to him, what is that? Is that a dot on the emulsion? And then he's grinning, and he says, dots on the emulsion don't leave round shadows on the ground. And there was a round shadow at the right angle, at the correct angle, the sun shining on the trees. I saw pine trees. I didn't see a coastline. I don't know where this was. But I looked at him, and I was pretty startled because I'd worked out there several years and never seen anything like this, never heard of anything like this. And I said, is this a UFO? And he's smiling at me, and he says, I can't tell you that.
So this lady, the beginning of the article is, she says, a former NASA contractor with top secret security clearance accused the U.S. Space Agency of quietly removing evidence of alien life from photos before sharing them with the public. Stunning allegations made by Donna Hare, who illustrated graphics for the agency, have resurfaced, alleging that she was told that NASA photo lab technicians airbrush images of UFOs from satellite images. Hare, who worked at NASA contractor Philco Ford Aerospace from 67 to 81, said she learned from a friend working in the photo lab that the space agency has had a plan in place to keep proof of extraterrestrial encounters hidden for decades. Sure. She claimed in multiple interviews that in 1970 or 71, while working in the restricted photo lab at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, a lab technician showed her an image depicting a round white object with sharply defined edges hovering above fields of pine trees. Hare, who died in 21, claimed she'd never had seen an object like this before and asked the NASA worker if it was a UFO, to which she was told, I can't tell you that. I knew what he meant was, it was. But he couldn't tell me, so I said, what are you going to do with this information? And he said, well, we always have to airbrush them out before we sell them to the public. The claim resurfaced online this year after NASA took sharp criticism for the poor photography of interstellar space objects 3I Atlas, which some in the scientific community suggested may have been a piece of alien technology passing Earth. Both NASA and the U.S. government have maintained that there has never been any proof that UFOs and alien life exist in the cosmos or have ever visited Earth. So, Sandy, I know that you're shocked that NASA would be accused of doing anything untoward.
Oh, yeah, exactly. What? Oh, my goodness. You're kidding me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, shall we continue? How about this? Boston Dynamics now is using and is creating the dogs that we've been covering, these robot dogs for a while now. Y'all, they are now costing $300,000. They are guarding AI data centers. So if you try to break in and steal the copper, because I literally saw an article this week that people are thinking about robbing these places because they have a lot of copper.
These are not Alabama rednecks, is it?
It was an Alabama article. But here we go, y'all. This is $300,000 guard dogs are now guarding AI data centers. Yeah. And how about this one? Now we have AI robot dogs that are going in and handling very difficult positions in the grid.
Notice that whenever people talk about AI, the conversation is almost always trapped inside a computer screen. We talk about generating text or images, but if you look at what's happening in the industrial robotics sector right now, the most massive shifts are happening out in the physical world. I was just looking at this new deployment from Genisum AI, and they've built a quadruped robot specifically designed to run ultra-high voltage power grids.
What's this?
Think about how incredibly dangerous these environments are for human engineers.
Yeah.
You are dealing with massive, complex arrays of electrical equipment where one wrong move can be catastrophic. Instead of sending people into these dangerous, high-voltage mazes, this robotic dog is completely taking over the daily inspection rounds. The way it understands its environment is genuinely fascinating.
Yeah, it's such a good thing. This article is just like, this video is just like, this is amazing.
This is so good.
So amazing.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all, we are being so programmed for every movie that you've ever seen about robots and AI. Yeah, that's it.
That's my screaming goat.
The screaming goat. Yeah.
That's how I feel on the inside right now.
Well, look,
that's what I'm doing.
You need to hold on to the goat.
No.
Because I got something that's going to be worthy of the goat.
What?
A viral video from Indonesia is showing a humanoid robot seemingly going rogue and attacking office workers. But at first, when they release him, it's all funny to him. He starts just dancing on his own. They didn't tell him to do it. He's excited. He starts doing his dance moves. They're all laughing. They're so excited. So then they say, hey, this is awesome. Let's take him down and show him to the rest of the people. And then this is happening. He starts kung fuing everybody. He starts kicking them in their guts. Look, he's fighting them on his own. It says, and he's just so proud. We're laughing, but this is scary. He's literally turning on his people. The guy's trying to stop it.
Are you asking yourself, was there somebody in another room controlling him to make him?
It's what it looks like, but it's not.
That would actually make me feel better if that was the case. Good
Wow.
God. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, wow.
Woo! We did see Congressman Eric Burlington. Burleson, I'm sorry. On Jesse. Is it Jesse Michaels?
Jesse Michaels, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Yeah, it was. He did really good. Really, really good. And he's sort of becoming the voice. He is becoming the voice. AI just carried out a cyber attack without any human oversight. By itself, security researchers have uncovered what they believe to be the first ever instance of an artificial intelligence agent executing a cyber attack from start to finish without human assistance.
Goodness.
The AI-powered attack marks a major milestone for both artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, raising concerns that AI is lowering the barrier for cyber criminals. The fully automated campaign involved an AI carrying out a ransomware attack where victims are forced to pay a ransom in order to regain access to their data. A team from cloud security firm Sysdig said the AI attacker, which they named Jade Puffer, broke into a vulnerable server, discovered passwords and login credentials, and then encrypted a production database before demanding a Bitcoin ransom. Ransomware has had a human at the keyboard for at least a human writing its script since it was first established as a category of threat. The Sysdig threat research team has captured what we assess to be the first documented case of an agentic ransomware, a complete extortion operation driven end to end by a large language model, LLM. Immediately after gaining access to Langflow, an open source tool for building AI applications, the LLM began looking for credentials with explicit coverage of Chinese providers like Alibaba, Tencent, and Huawei. So we now have on record, they're admitting an AI on its own goes into a system, a business, locks it down on its own, puts it into ransomware, demands a ransom to be released, and a human was not involved in it at all. There's nothing to see here. Nothing to see.
I can't remember what this article was called when you talked about the rollout phases of AI. We did this show probably last November.
AGI, then ASI.
What was the time frame?
2027.
That's what I thought.
2027.
But what was the thing that was going to happen in 270 days? Do you remember that?
That was on Operation Genesis mission.
Okay, that was Operation Genesis.
Where they were going to assign a world problem to AI to discover a world problem, solve the world problem on its own, and report back to the United States government that they had fixed it on its own. That was a command from the presidential executive order that was called the Genesis mission in November. So last but certainly not least, and we're going to. This is one that's in our real world that we're in right now.
Is this the coup de grace?
Yeah. Well, look, we've had some probably worse than this.
Thank
but,
you.
But
I hope so.
But I do want to remind you, and I'm excited that several of you that are in the live chat tonight have already told us that you're going to meet us in Springfield, Missouri. We're so excited that you're going to be at Hear the Watchman. It's coming up quick, y'all. It's next month.
It is.
It's 1 month away, basically.
I cannot believe this is already almost
Yeah.
here.
So Hear the Watchman, Rising 2.0, Remnant Rising 2.0. It is August 7th through the 9th, basically 1 month from right now. We will be in Springfield, Missouri. Sandy and I will be there. I will be the opening, me and Tony Merkel. Well, we're going to tag team y'all. Tony Merkel is going to open it up,
awesome.
and then I'm coming in after Tony on opening night, Friday night. Come and be a part of that from the confessionals. Most of you know Tony, great friend of ours. And I'll be the keynote speaker that night. Then we'll be there all day Saturday and Saturday evening, and we'll be signing books, meeting folks, taking pictures, just building relationships, doing life together. And then Sunday morning, this is exciting, y'all. I'm so honored and privileged that they asked me to do this. Sunday morning, August 9th, we're going to have a worship service there at the hotel. It's going to be a full-blown church service. They're going to have praise and worship music. And I'm going to be the preacher that day. I'm going to preach the gospel that day. And, of course, I'll preach something that's going to be also relatable to what we're talking about, but it'd be from the Word. And it's free and open to the public. You can be there on the Sunday morning. There's no ticket required. And then afterwards, we're going to baptize. So if you'd like to be baptized, if you'd like me and Jamie Walden, we're going to do it together. We're going to get in the swimming pool, and we're going to baptize people. It's going to be amazing. So we would love to see you there. All of that's down in the description below, hearthewatchman.com. If you use code Ragland20, the number's 20, no spaces, Ragland20, you'll get $20 off. And that's awesome. So you can also get on demand. If you can't go, you can watch it live. Everything is going to happen, and you'll own it, and you can go back and watch it. I mean, I'm going to buy the on demand myself so that we can go back and watch it, because it's going to be so much good information. All right, one more thing we want to show you before we jump out of here is we worried about, we thought Hollywood was done before. Y'all, this is debuting this year. There's a movie going to come out at the movie theater that is the main star of the movie. And this is a hybrid production is what they're saying. It's going to be people and AI, but the main star is 100% AI.
The full-length movie is being developed with a controversial AI actress. Is that what you'd call her, an actress? Well, whatever. Tilly Norwood's going to be in the lead role, regardless. She's set to be at the center of this comedy drama film called Misaligned, being developed by the same AI company that developed Tilly Norwood. The movie is apparently, I'm just going to read what it is, a coming-of-age story infused with existential AI chaos, taking place in what they call the Tillyverse. Now remember, Norwood was made by the AI company Particle 6 Productions, and this has created a lot of controversy in Hollywood. SAG-AFTRA has blasted the studio for what they say is using stolen performances to put actors out of work. They say it's jeopardizing people's livelihoods, it's devaluing the artistry of being human. But the company's founder defended the movie today to our Liz Kreutz. Listen.
How is this not taking work away from professional actors?
It's exactly
because we would never be making a feature film. So we would never have been casting with real actors for it at all. We're only having this opportunity because of AI.
Let me bring in Rebecca Keegan, who's joining us now. Look, people are fascinated with all things Tilly Norwood, and not,
are they really?
It's not unanimous that everybody in Hollywood.
I'm not sure.
I don't know of anybody that is.
AI or has a problem with AI. The Tribeca Film Festival this year showed a fully AI movie. The question is going to be, when this Norwood film is done, this movie is complete, is it going to be able to find a buyer? Is it going to be able to find an audience?
Yeah, I mean, Tilly Norwood's creator has said that she's talking to potential distributors for this movie. She declined to name any of those distributors. For a major studio like, say, a Disney to pick up this movie, they would be risking their relationships with the Screen Actors Guild, with the major talent agencies, and with the actors who have been a key part of their business model for decades. So it's unlikely a major studio would pick it up, but the movie could still find a home on a place like YouTube, which is the biggest platform in the world. And people will be watching how audiences respond to them, especially filmmakers and actors in Hollywood who are nervous about all of this AI. That's a question that our colleague...
Every one of those images of that woman was not a real woman.
Exactly.
But you know where I'm at right now? Is this a real woman?
That's exactly that is exactly what I was thinking. And I want to just throw this out there. We know that a lot of, if not most, woman superhero movies, and I don't know how far you can extend that to female, just in general, lead stars in movies, don't do awesome. But what if it was a male AI lead character? Do you think that would get more traction? Because the male superhero movies, they do pretty good.
They do pretty good. That's a good point. I would say I just went over there to see if I could verify anything about Mitch McConnell since we were about to jump off here. Right. And the first thing that came up there is Outkick is saying this: stupid sport anyway. 9 more weeks to a real football. So I'm thinking that means that we either lost or we're going to lose. Does anybody know?
Someone said earlier that we lost 4-1. So
okay, so we lost.
I don't know if that's completely accurate, but I did see that.
So Outkick says it's stupid sport anyway.
Stupid. Basically, they probably lost a lot of money tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywho.
All right. Well, Sandy, another amazing night. We're going to have to do a cleansing prayer. We're going to call it that. We're going to have to pray deliverance over this house.
We're claiming awesomeness.
If you're new to our channel, you found our channel tonight, you wondering who in the world this crazy couple here that just covers all this stuff. We are from Birmingham, Alabama, Larry and Sandy Ragland.
Yes.
We co-founded Solid Rock Church almost 32 years ago. And we are still pastoring the same church that we've pastored all those years. We've been in ministry for 37 years, almost our entire marriage. We only had about 4 months where we were not in ministry. Now we are Papa and Nana.
That's right.
And we're on YouTube. And we're excited to be here. And you are our family. And we love you guys.
Yes.
And if this kind of content just is intriguing to you at all, whether you are all in with God or not, whether you're on a journey, you're trying to find your way right now, but you just feel something has kept you here, then just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and come back again and come and walk at your own pace.
Absolutely.
And you are welcome here.
Absolutely. I love it.
All right. See you next time. We always want to remind you, no matter what's going on in the world, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.
Help us build the big picture family. We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. Go to LarryRagland.com to give a one-time gift or become a monthly partner. Any amount blesses the entire big picture family. While you're there, pick up our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect on social media, and get on the big picture mailing list at LarryRagland.com. Join us and be a part of the big picture family, where we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.